Welcome to the Epic Dad Show. This is your host, Fraser Cameron. And yes, I'm still in France, although in a few days, we are about to go for a week-long family getaway in Tuscany, in Italy, where we're going to meet up with the Mercadante family. If you follow me, if you're aware of what I've done, you'll be aware of one of my very well-known clients, Kurt Mercadante, who's doing some amazing things in the coaching and speaking space around freedom. We are going to catch up for a week with them during their 3-week escape to Italy, which is very, very exciting, and our family's very much looking forward to catching up with the Mercadantes. But until then, I'm still sitting here in France sharing with you. So obviously you know that the topic of May is around superpowers. And I wanted to give you an example of someone who uses their superpowers extremely, extremely well, right? So for me, Jim Carrey, growing up in the 80s and early 90s, as I did, being a mid to late 70s birth, Jim Carrey's comedy was at the front and center of so much TV, so many movies that we watched growing up, right? His way of completely embodying physically the comedy that he was sharing was something quite phenomenal. The Ace Ventura movies and The Mask and the like, regardless of the quality of them as movies, the man is brilliant, right? And he used storytelling through comedy as a way to get a message across. And his superpowers are so centered around his ability to tell stories, like to tell stories with humor, but to make an amazing point. And as I've got older and as he's got older, he's really morphed into a real philosopher on life and a real commentator on social, political, all sorts of life things, right? Purpose-based stuff. And it really is quite phenomenal to watch him use his superpowers, right? So he started off using them in the comedy world with Saturday Night Live and the like, and entertaining people. And then as they evolved and as he evolved, he started to use it to change the world, right? Not just through comedy, but through storytelling. He is a phenomenal, phenomenal storyteller. And a lot of other comedians and a lot of other leaders are the same. Billy Connolly, the famous Scottish comedian who has a New Zealand connection through his wife, so we proudly almost claim him as one of our own. We try until the Scots disagree, but we'll take it. Was also amazingly phenomenal at this as well. His ability to tell a story through comedy. And it's an amazing superpower to have because it's incredibly powerful. Now, sports people have superpowers. Like Tom Brady has a superpower of his leadership, of his control, of being calm. And it enables him in his 40s to still be dominating an extremely physical sport and one that is truly at the elite level, right? So back to Jim Carrey, his ability to use these superpowers. Imagine if he hadn't unleashed them. Imagine the roles that he would have had, or imagine the impact he would have had. They would have been just a fraction of what they are now, right? He wouldn't have had that sense of fulfillment. He wouldn't have had that sense of impact that he has undoubtedly created over the last 20 or 30 years. And it's an example of one that, it's a random one in so many ways, right? Who would have associated comedy and storytelling with changing the world? But it absolutely can. And in the example of Jim Carrey, does. He has harnessed his superpowers and discovered how to use them to make an impact in those aspects of his life. Now, I can't comment on his personal life or on the things he does for play because I don't know him, right? But from a work perspective, how he has used his superpowers to impact us is nothing short of phenomenal. And here's the real kicker. He is no different than you. He is no more special than you, aside from the fact that he discovered his superpowers and learned how to use them. So that challenge is now on you, right? You can be the Jim Carrey of your industry. You can be the Tom Brady of your field of excellence, right? You have the greatness inside you. You have the ability. It's about tapping into it. It's about unleashing it. It's about harnessing it. So I want you to think long and hard about what's going on when you're at your absolute best. What are you doing when you feel unstoppable, unbeatable, when you feel bulletproof? What is happening? Think about the environment. Think about what it is you're doing. Write it on a piece of paper. Get really clear on what's going on when you're in the zone of excellence, when you're in the zone of ultimate performance. We'll go into a little bit more detail about that over the next coming days, but I want you to get really, really clear about what is happening in your zone of ultimate performance. Please feel free to reach out via frasercameron.com, LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, whatever it may be. Reach out and share it with me. I'd love to know what is going on when you are performing at the ultimate level. And I will go into more detail as to what you can do with that and how you can use it to unleash your superpowers over the next few weeks up until the end of this month. So please stay tuned in. And if you think that you know someone else out there, a dad who could do with unleashing his superpowers, please share this podcast with him. Please encourage him to listen so he too can unleash his superpowers. Talk soon.